Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K YouTube Live. And today I'm going to show you how I made a card with the Gift of Joy stamp set. This is one of the stamp sets that's in the new Stampin' Up! Mini catalog, the September to December mini. And it's one of those that's kind of hidden a little bit in the back of the catalog, so maybe not one that you, might have jumped out at you right away when you looked at it, but I think it's a really pretty one. And love the lined images in it and love that it's two-step stamping. I know some people don't love two-step stamping, but when it's photopolymer, I do love it. And this is a really quick and, one that you can make really quick and easy cards with. Lots of ideas with it. Again, it's got the little stocking, the little swag, there's a bow, there's an ornament, a gift box, and then the poinsettia image that I used today. So hey, Karen and Carol and Jolene and Van, I'm glad you, or Val, Van, Val, I'm so glad you're here. And Pam, thanks for joining today too. So again, this is the card. It's pretty quick and easy. Like I said, just the 3 stamped images over and over again here on little pieces that I had cut out and layered over the top of some die cuts, and then did a little layering with designer paper, and that's really all there is to it. So pretty quick and easy. So hey, Carol and Debbie and Tanya and Sherry, thanks everybody. Everybody's hopping in. All of a sudden I see a bunch of names coming up, so thanks for being here. This is the stamp set. Again, it's called Gift of Joy, and it is a photopolymer, so that means that it is clear and you can see right through it. Makes for easy stamping. I say that confidently before I start stamping on screen. Now I will say that it's always a caveat. When I'm stamping on screen for you, I'm stamping like looking through a camera. It's a little more challenging than when you're just doing it yourself. So I don't always get it stamped perfectly, but it's actually pretty easy to do if you don't have a camera in between you and what you're working on. So, all right. So again, this is a stamp set, lots of good Christmas sentiments in it as well. So just a good one. All right. A couple other things that I did use on this. I used the Stylish Shapes dies, and I used this little sentiment die, which I love. I love this set of dies. If you don't have them yet, first of all, why don't you have them yet? No, I'm just kidding. No, it is a great set of dies, and it's one that's been around for a little while. It's from the annual catalog, and it's just fantastic. It fits lots and lots of things. I use these banner dies. Well, actually, I use the banners and the circles tons, the squares quite often. So it's a great set. And then the perennial postage dies are the other set that I used for this. And I cut out the framing. Hopefully you can see it on here because it's kind of layered cherry cobbler on cherry cobbler. But use this to cut the little framed pieces for my card front. So hey, Karen, thanks for hopping in, and Sally as well. All right, and perennial postage is the name of those dies. Both of those sets of dies are in the Stampin' Up! Annual catalog, so you'll find them there. You can find them in the online store too. Before we get going, a couple things I wanted to remind you about. The 12 Days of Crafting little advent calendar that Stampin' Up! Is selling did go on sale today, which is the 23rd of September. They're only available while supplies last. They look really cute. It's basically it's like you open it up, a box, and it's got 2 sides to it, and there are 12 little things you can open up. It's everything, from my understanding, there are some dies in it. I think there are embellishments in it. There's some paper in it, believe it or not. So it seems like a great deal. It's $99. Again, it's available while supplies last. None of the products in there are going to be available any other time, so this is the only time you can get it. It makes a great gift for, say you have a significant other or a kid that's looking to buy a gift for you for the holidays. This would be perfect. Or if you have crafty friends that you're always wondering what you should get for gifts, this I think would also be perfect. So go grab it. Make sure you get one before they're gone. Let me know if you have any questions. Yes, and mine did not arrive yet. So, it's a cute one. And like I said, it's kind of hidden in the back of the catalog. So it's not one that they have a lot of samples for, but I was looking at it and I think it's really cute and really easy to use. So do love that. All right. Couple other things, online exclusives. Just make sure that every time you're out shopping in the Stampin' Up! Online store, you're taking a peek at those online exclusives. There are some new ones for the holidays out there. There's Halloween stuff out there. I don't know, there's just kind of general things. There's tons of things out there. So if you log in or go to stampinup.com and then click on the menu button on the upper left, and then find the little circle that says online exclusives, that will take you to a page for all of the online exclusives that are currently available. And there are lots and lots of them, and they change out often, and they're not tied to any catalog, so you're not going to find them anywhere other than by looking in the online store. All right. And lastly, if you have been thinking about joining as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, right now, well, I shouldn't say right now, October, so don't do it before October. October will be a really great time to join. It's one of those take your pick offers. So there are two options to join. There are joining specials from Stampin' Up! That are going to be going on starting October 1st and running through the end of October. The first one is you only pay $35 for the starter kit, where you get to pick $125 worth of Stampin' Up! Merchandise in your kit. And it's only $35. And it ships for free, and you get a free paper pumpkin kit in the starter kit as well as a pack of catalogs. So it is a really awesome deal, really, really awesome deal. Or if you're like me and want like one of everything, they also have the regular $99 starter kit, and you get to pick $189 worth of products in your kit for $99. And it will ship for free, and you'll get the paper pumpkin kit in it and the business things in it, the catalogs and things in it. So if you are thinking about it at all, you can join. You don't have to do it as a business. You can join and simply get the demonstrator discount, which is at least 20% on all the products that you purchase as a demonstrator. And as an added bonus, starting on October 1st, there is also a pre-order going on for the November online exclusives. So you can add those items to your starter kit as part of your starter kit. So yay for that. Or if you're like me again and you want all of the online exclusives all the time, you can add as much as you can to your starter kit, and then you can purchase them, the rest of them, with that demonstrator discount of 20% off everything. So let me know if you have questions about that. We'd love to have you come join our team. We definitely have a very relaxed group that really most of my team members just joined for the discount for themselves, and just love the products and love the stamping and hanging out together. So yeah, come join us. We'd love to have you. So let me know if you have questions about that. Details, actually, they're out on my blog already. If you go to stampwithamyk.com, golly, I can't even speak, stampwithamyk.com, and then click, I was trying to merge two words together, and then click on the little button up at the top that says Join My Team. The details are posted out there under the Join My Team section. So, all right, I will stop yakking about that now, but it's a really, really, really good deal. So if you are interested in joining, definitely get on it and join. So I've got an old olive card base. This is cut to 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2 across the top. This card will work with a standard card base. So if you're one of those people that doesn't love my top fold cards, which I love them, and would prefer the side fold card, this will also work with the 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 scored at 4 1/4 down the side card base. You can take your pick. This is a little bit of the Traditions of Christmas Designer Series paper. It's a specialty pack, so it's got that gold foiling, which of course we're going to be gluing down today. This piece measures about 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And we're just going to stick that on and cover the entire card front with that Designer Series paper. And I'm going to pick it up here and just make sure that my corners are all square and that I have it on here fairly straight, which I think I do. And then we'll smush it down. And I think that'll be enough of the liquid glue today. So I've got another piece. Again, this is another one from that same pack of the Traditions of Christmas Designer Series paper. This paper is in the mini catalog, the current September to December one. But of course, we're going to glue it with the pretty side. Well, they're both pretty sides. With the foiled side down. This measures about 3 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. And then this is Cherry Cobbler cardstock, and it measures about 3 3/8 by 5 1/2 inches. And all the measurements are going to be on my blog tomorrow, so don't throw your adhesive around like I just did. No, just kidding. So don't worry about, keeping track of all the 3/8 and the 5/8 and the 1/2 and all that stuff. That'll all be out on my blog tomorrow, and I will link directly to the blog post once it goes live around 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time on Wednesday. And there will be a printable PDF tutorial out there, so you can find that, all the products that I used to create this card and all that good stuff there. All right, now we're going to grab a little Stampin' Seal, and we are going to stick this to the card front. And we are just going to center it. So I'm going to use my grid paper to help me roughly center this. I'm scooting it up a little bit so that you can see a little bit better. So the center line is this darker line in the middle. Then I'm just going to take my paper and we're just going to place it over here And we're going to see roughly, does it look like it's centered? Scooch it over just a little bit to the left. I think we got it. All right. Grid paper, I do love it. Does help me to line things up a little bit straighter. It's not perfect because, sometimes I look at stuff cross-eyed and then it's not at all straight. But I think we got it that time. So I've got 3 little pieces of basic white cardstock, and this is, hey Judy, thanks for hopping in, and Phyllis from Lala's. So this measurement is a little bit strange on these, and I cut it to fit inside because I wanted to use these little die cut pieces as my layering. So I wanted it to fit inside. So it's not like a typical 1/8 or 1/4 inch measurement on it. So it actually measures 1 5/16 inches tall by 2 1/8 wide, which again is kind of a strange measurement, but that was the one that I found that fit best inside. When I went to the 1/8 inch, it was just a little bit too big, and then I trimmed it down to the 1/8 inch, the next one down, and then it was too small, so it's like that porridge thing where it's too hot, too cold, and just perfect in the middle at 5/16 of an inch. If you don't want to have to measure 5/16, just go into the, what is it? It'd be 1 1/4, and then just add a little bit. So, all right. So I've got Secret Sea ink, and the colors for this actually were all pulled from the Designer Series paper, even though I did not use any of the Secret Sea cardstock or Secret Sea designer papers on here. I thought the colors looked nice together, so I just went ahead and went forward with the Secret Sea ink on it, rather than using basic black, or it's not basic black, tuxedo black, which I could have used, but I just liked the Secret Sea better, so that's what I went with. All right, so we've got all 3 of those stamped. I'm going to close that up. Then I'm going to grab the next image. Again, these are all from the Gift of Joy stamp set. We're going to grab the little fill-in for the flower, the poinsettia image. Hopefully you can see that on there, and Cherry Cobbler ink. And we're going to ink that up. And again, it's not, like I said, I've got the camera in between me and what I'm stamping, so it's a little more challenging for me, but really they're not too hard to line up. And if they don't line up perfectly, it's perfectly okay, because this is one of those kind of artsy looking sets. So just stamp it and don't worry about it. So at least that's my theory on it, is stamp it and forget it, and don't panic if it doesn't match up exactly. Just get it as close as you can. The easiest thing for me as I'm lining it up is the dots in the corners. If I look at the dots images, the lined images for the dots, and line those up, and then everything else should be lined up as long as those are relatively lined up. So, all right, close that one up. The next one, this is all on one stamp, and it's the leaves and the flower center. So you can certainly stamp them all in one color. I, however, of course, decided to make it more challenging for myself and decided that I wanted the little flower centers to be yellow and the leaves to be green. So thank goodness it's a photopolymer stamp set. So we grabbed Darling Duckling ink, and you have to be really careful when you're doing it. But if you ink up, you kind of have to tilt the stamp a little bit, but you can ink up just that little part of the flower center with your Darling Duckling. And I'm going to be wild and crazy and leave that ink pad open as I'm inking this up. I'll probably regret it. And then we've got Old Olive for the leaves. And again, you have to be a little careful, just making sure that you're inking up only the leaves and don't hit that flower center. And then we're going to go back over here to the stamped image. And again, just trying to line up my leaves and flower center. And we're just going to repeat that same process. Again, just barely kind of tipping the image just a little bit, kind of angling it, and then tapping it on your Darling Duckling ink pad. And then over here around it with the Old Olive. And again, just grabbing the next image and hopefully getting it reasonably lined up. And then the final one. And that's the only difficult part, I think, of this, is just making sure that you are careful if you want to do it as the two-color stamping. Again, if you didn't want it that way, you can certainly just use Old Olive and stamp it all in Old Olive, and then you don't have to stress out about trying to get the little dots in a different color. So completely up to you. All right, I'm going to close those up now that I'm done with that part of the stamping, because again, waiting for disaster when I have an ink pad open. And then I'm going to grab, I did die cut these ahead of time, again, with the perennial postage dies. This is the die that I used. It measures about 2¼ by roughly 1½ inches. So that's the little die that I used to cut these, and just cut these from Cherry Cobbler cardstock. And then I'm going to grab a little Stampin' Seal, and we're going to stick them together with Stampin' Seal. And again, just roughly centering these on my little die cuts, and trying not to smear the ink, because, yeah, I've been there, done that. Especially for whatever reason, Cherry Cobbler and I, we have this thing. I love the color, and I use it a lot, particularly for Christmas. But for whatever reason, I don't know whether it's the way my skin is made up or whether I just have oily hands or whatever, but that's one of those colors that I can smear really easily, so I try not to touch over it when I've got it stamped. So, hey, Cindy, thanks for hopping in, and Judy as well. All right, so we've got our 3 images here all set up and ready to go. Then I'm going to grab some Stampin' Dimensionals, and we're going to go ahead and stick these on the card front. Hopefully I won't regret it later. You know what? Maybe I'll just put the dimensionals on the back, and then we'll stamp the sentiment, and I will die cut that. Then I'll make sure that I don't regret it later, that I put something in the wrong spot. So let's get dimensionals on the back of these. I do chop my Stampin' Dimensionals in half. If you don't love half dimensionals like I do, you don't have to cut them in half. You could certainly use whole ones, but I prefer the half ones, so that's why we're doing it. Then I'm going to grab a little piece of Old Olive cardstock and the Happy Christmas sentiment. I've got Versamark ink and my little embossing buddy that we're going to rub over the top of the Old Olive cardstock in an effort to try to minimize the extra little flecks that stick anywhere where I don't want them to be. Got Versamark ink, and we're inking this up with Versamark, and then we're going to stamp it down here on the Old Olive cardstock. And then I've got gold embossing powder, so we're going to do a little heat embossing, so it's going to make a bunch of racket here in a second. But, all right, pouring gold embossing on it. This is from the Metallics Wow embossing powders, which is a 3-pack when you get them. It is silver, gold, and copper in that pack, and it's a pretty awesome pack of embossing powders. So turn on the heat tool. So Stampin' Up's heat tool has 2 settings on it. There's a level 1 setting. If you're doing something like watercoloring and want to speed it up, the drying process of the watercoloring a little bit, you can use the level 1 setting. It's sort of like a hot hair dryer is what I would call it, kind of a really hot hair dryer. And then the level 2 setting is designed for heat embossing, so it does get a little bit hotter. You don't want to put your hand in front of it on either setting, but certainly, definitely not for the level 2 setting. It's hot enough to heat emboss, but it does take just a second to heat up, so that's why I'm just yucking here with it pointed off into space. And we're going to turn it towards the project. Keep my fingers out of the way. And then we'll wait until it turns kind of smooth and shiny. And then you know it's done cooking. You don't want to overheat it so that it turns dull and brown. That's not very nice. And then just give it a second to cool off before you do your die cutting, just because you can actually smear it if you don't give it just a second to cool off. All right, got my die from the Stylish Shapes dies. And we're going to grab a little Post-it note tape, and we're going to stick that on here in the hopes that I can keep it on course and running straight through my die cutting machine. So I've got a little Post-it note tape, and then I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine, so I'll be right back. All right, there we go. And set that aside and get that out of the way. And we're going to put our little dimensionals here on the back of this. I'm only going to put them on the very edges right now because we're going to put some twine in the middle of it. And if I need to put a little dimensional underneath the middle of it, then we will. But for now, I'm just going to leave it like that. And then I'm just going to, again, get my mess out of the way, roughly center this, and place these on here first, so that I make sure that I've got the spacing close to correct before I start sticking everything down for good. Because there's nothing worse than you know, getting it all stuck together and then realizing you didn't have room for your sentiment. Again, ask me how I know these things. Yeah, because I've done it before plenty of times where you're like, oh, shoot, I should have left that a little bit wider. And then you're trying to figure out how to cut everything apart and re-stick it together. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and try to center it, put it on here straight, and then smush it down. And then we're going to do the one on the top. Same thing. Again, roughly centering it, hopefully getting it on here straight. And then the final one here. All right. Hopefully all the backings are staying over on the side and not sticking to me like they sometimes do. All right, and we'll go ahead and slide that one here in the middle. Okay, then I'm going to take this actually out of the way, and we're going to add a little kind of faux bow. This is that black and white and gold baker's twine, and there's actually a black and gold spool as well as a white and gold spool in here. So obviously, since I didn't go with black on the card, I'm using the white and gold. If I had used black ink on it, I may have put the black and gold on there, but probably not. I think the white looks better, in my opinion. All right, going to grab a little glue dot here and stick that, again, just kind of roughly, kind of off to the side, but roughly centered. And then we are going to stick our twine on here, and we're going to make it look like a bow, but it's not really going to be a bow because I didn't want to have to tie one. So just going to take it, loop it around, make it look like a bow. And nobody but you and I will know, since it'll be all covered up. And chop that off. There we go. And then we're going to take our sentiment and we're going to put that right over the top of it. So that's going to cover it so nobody but you and I know that it's wasn't actually a bow. And then I'm going to take, actually, because I have a feeling it's going to sag a little bit in the center if I don't, I'm going to go ahead and put a Stampin' Dimensional on here. But I'm going to stick it on the card front next to my twine just so that it doesn't accidentally land on top of the twine, and then you've got kind of a weird lump in the sentiment. So, and nobody wants lumpy sentiments. All right, so again, just roughly centering this between the two and between the edges, and that's kind of it. So there you go. Oh my gosh, Karen, you need to get this set. You know my theory on it. Just buy it all, and then nobody's sad. So, all right. Part of the suite that has this designer series paper in it, it's their Traditions of Christmas suite, and it's 2 stamp set bundles, paper, embellishments, ribbon, all that good stuff in it. These traditional sparkling sequins are part of the suite, and I love that they're self-adhesive, and I love that they are flat. So it makes it easier, because I know most of us are worried about postage on especially Christmas cards when we're sending out bunches and bunches of them, trying to keep the postage to a minimum. So this card should mail out with 1 stamp attached to it, as long as, when I send mine out, I usually will put like the backer from Designer Series paper pack, or just a sheet of kind of junk cardstock or whatever over the top of it to stop anything from poking through the envelope. But this one should be able to go out with just 1 stamp, since I used the flatter embellishments on it. So we're using 3 of those, sticking 2 down here and 1 up a little bit. So inside of the card is also pretty quick and easy. So we've got basic white cardstock. This is cut to 4 1/4 by 4 by 5 1/4. That's why I always say, check the blog post, because usually I say the wrong thing. We're going to go back to the Secret Sea ink for the sentiment. And again, this sentiment is actually from the Gift of Joy stamp set. So it's all, that's what I love about some of these kind of back of the catalog stamps, is that they've got the inside and the outside sentiments, which I love. It makes it easier. You don't have to go hunting and trying to find tons of different mix and match sentiments and things on there to get your card done. All right, also stamp the little floral image again in Secret Sea ink. Then we're going to grab Cherry Cobbler and do the flower image again. So again, fill in image, and these are all from the Gift of Joy stamp set as well. And we'll try to get them roughly lined up here, maybe. All right, not too bad. Not perfect, but not terrible. And then get the Darling Duckling and Old Olive again, and we're going to take the little flower center and leaves image, and we're going to do the same thing again, where I'm going to kind of angle it in and just ink that little flower center with the edge of the Darling Duckling ink pad. And use Old Olive to ink up the rest of the leaves. So again, just inking up the leaves right around the center. I think I got all of them. And then we're going to go over here and we'll just stamp it right over the top again, just like we did on the card front. And that's going to be it for the inside of the card. So, all right. Let me grab my Stampin' Seal, and hopefully I won't smear that cherry cobbler ink while I'm putting this on the inside of the card. Just running Stampin' Seal around the edge. And we'll put it on the inside of the card, and we're going to be all done. So, all right. Thanks so much for joining today. Again, all the details will be on my blog tomorrow, and I will link directly to the blog post once it goes live around 8 o'clock in the morning in the description of the video. And I forgot my... Goodness, I forgot my bone folder, so just pretend like that was the bone folder and not my finger that smooshed it down. But there we go. So 2 more Christmas cards done and ready to mail out. Quick and easy. Again, the Gift of Joy is the name of the stamp set, so definitely grab it. Go take a peek at it. I can't remember what page it's on in the catalog, but I know it's kind of towards the back, and it's a little bit hidden in there, but it's a great stamp set. Lots of good sentiments in it. And love that you can cut it out with all kinds of different dies. So thanks again, everybody, for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Gosh, it's Tuesday already. Enjoy your Friday, or enjoy your week. I will plan to see you on Friday around 2 o'clock Eastern time for another live video. And then again around 2 o'clock Eastern time next week, Tuesday. So we will see you all then. And again, have a great day.